Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Cambridge Chemistry channel with Sarwat Ahmed. Today I will be solving May-June 2022 variant 21 paper. Let's start. Question number 1. Answer all the questions in this section in the space provided. The total marks for this section is 45. Choose from the following compounds to answer the questions. Each compound may be used once, more than once, or not at all. State which compound react with dilute nitric acid to form a gas that turns lime water milky. It should be carbonate, because carbonate producing carbon dioxide while reacting with the acid, which turns lime water milky. So this will be sodium carbonate, Na2CO3. React with warm aqueous sodium hydroxide to form a gas that turns damp red litmus paper blue. So damp red litmus paper blue, this gas is ammonia, and if there is ammonium ion present in compound, should be answer. So the compound is ammonium chloride, NH4Cl. React with dilute hydrochloric acid to give a gas that decolorizes acidified potassium manganate. This should be sulfite, potassium sulfite, because when you add hydrochloric acid in potassium sulfite or sulfite ions, it gives sulfur dioxide that decolorizes acidified potassium manganate from purple to colorless. Is prepared using a precipitation reaction, that is insoluble salt. So this is barium sulfate. Contains anions with a charge of -3. Ions which carrying -3. Phosphate, Na3PO4. So phosphate carrying -3 charge is used to test for an oxidizing agent. So should be reducing agent. Potassium iodide is typical reducing agent. So this is potassium iodide. The table shows some information about elements in group 5. Phosphorus. Phosphorus is present in third period. So electronic configuration would be, the atomic number is 15, 2, 8 and 5. And bismuth melting point. State the electronic configuration for phosphorus. This is 2, 8 and 5. Explain why it is easier to predict the boiling point of bismuth than to predict its melting point. Boiling point has regular trend, while melting point does not have a regular trend. Use the information from the table to explain why antimony is liquid at 1000 degrees centigrade. 1000 degree liquid at 1000. Why antimony is liquid at 1000 degrees? Bismuth antimony is liquid at, this is the boiling point and this is the melting point. So as melting point is below than 1000 degrees centigrade, while boiling point is above than 1000 degrees centigrade. Nitrogen exists as a diatomic molecule. Draw a dot and cross diagram to show the bonding in nitrogen. Nitrogen is present in fifth group, so it has 5 valence shell electrons. This is 2 atoms of nitrogen share 3 pairs of electrons. Explain in terms of structure and bonding why nitrogen has a low melting point. Nitrogen is simple molecule. Molecule has weaker intermolecular forces which require less energy to break. Bismuth is a metal. Predict 2 physical properties of bismuth. Bismuth conducts electricity, has high melting and boiling point. Calculate the volume in dm cube of 19.2 gram of nitrogen at room temperature and pressure. Give your answer. 2 significant figures. Is equal to 19.2 divided by 28. So the answer is 0.6857. Volume is equal to mole into 24 dm cube. The answer is 16.457. So answer should be in 2 significant figures. So The answer is 60 dm cube. Question number 3. Diagram shows some reactions of butanol. Complete combustion, A and B. A is carbon dioxide, B is water, incomplete combustion, and C is carbon monoxide. Name and draw the structure of D. Acidified, this is alcohol. Alcohol changes into butanoic acid. So this is C5C3H7CO2H. When react with acidified potassium manganate 7, the name is 1, 2, 3, 4. Butanoic acid and structure is structure of E. Liquid B and organic liquid E. Heat with ethanoic acid. So the name is butyl ethanoate. Butyl ethanoate. Structure is the table shows information about some particles. State the name of neutron, number of neutron in 1735. When we subtract 35 minus 7, this is equal to 18. State the number of electrons because chloride ion gain 1 electron, so number of electron will be 18. K is full symbol for one isotope of potassium. Suggest the full symbol for one other isotopes of potassium. This is 39, use 40 and 19. Describe how a potassium ion is formed from potassium atom. Potassium atom loses one electron to form potassium ion. Potassium chloride is an ionic compound. Potassium chloride has a high melting and boiling point. Explain why potassium chloride has high melting and melting point. Potassium chloride is giant ionic lattice which has strong electrostatic force of attraction between positive and negative ions which require high energy to break. Predict two other physical properties of potassium chloride. Two other: conduct electricity in molten and aqueous form. Dissolve in water. Question number 5. Iron react with steam and with dilute hydrochloric acid. Dilute sulfuric acid. The reaction between iron and steam is reversible. The forward reaction is exothermic. An equilibrium mixture is formed when the reversible reaction happens in a closed system. Predict what happens to the amount of hydrogen in the equilibrium mixture if the temperature is increased and the pressure remains constant. Explain your answer. This is the chemical equation. This is exothermic reaction, negative delta H, and what happened to the amount of hydrogen in equilibrium mixture if the temperature is increased and pressure remain constant. Amount of hydrogen decreases as equilibrium will shift backward to absorb heat because backward reaction is endothermic. Predict what happens to the amount of hydrogen in the equilibrium if the pressure is increased and the temperature remains constant. Solid is ignored in case of pressure, and this solid is also ignored. So there is 4 moles of steam on the reactant side and 4 moles of hydrogen on the product side. So amount of hydrogen stays same. Amount of hydrogen stays same as position of equilibrium does not change due to same number of moles of gas on both sides of equations. Iron reacts with dilute sulfuric acid to make aqueous iron 2 sulfate. Construct ionic equation for this reaction. Iron solid plus 2H positive ion to form Fe2 positive plus H2 gas. So this reaction is like this. If this is ionic equation, aqueous and gas. So this is the actual chemical equation for this reaction. H2SO4 to form FeSO4 plus H2 gas. This is aqueous and solid. The sulfate are same ions on both sides, so sulfate ions are cancelled out, and this is the ionic equation for this reaction. So describe a chemical test to confirm that iron 2 sulfate is formed instead of iron 3 sulfate at aqueous sodium hydroxide in solution, drop by drop, and then excess. Iron 2 sulfate gives a green precipitate with few drops of sodium hydroxide and with excess. This is a test of iron 2 ions. The aqueous iron 2 sulfate formed is crystallized to make hydrated iron 2 sulfate. Calculate the relative formula mass of iron 2. Relative formula mass of hydrated iron 2 sulfate. Relative formula mass FeSO4 dot 7H2O. Iron is 56 plus sulfur is 32. 16 into 4 plus 7, and water Mr is 18, and this is equal to 278. The relative formula mass is 278. Student uses 2.80 gram of iron to make 12.5 gram of hydrated iron 2 sulfate crystal. This is 90% yield. Calculate the mass of hydrated iron 2 sulfate crystals made from 2.80 gram of iron if the yield is 100%. So mole of iron is equal to 2.80 divided by 56. This is 0.05. Now mole ratio is 1:1 and 0.05 ratio x. So mole of FeSO4 dot 7H2O is equal to 0.05. Mass is equal to 0.05 into 278. The answer is 13.9 gram. Aqueous iron 2 sulfate is electrolyzed using graphite electrodes. Predict the products of this electrolysis. Iron 2 sulfate is electrolyzed using cathode product of the cathode. Now, iron 2 sulfate has ions 2 positive sulfate ions and H positive and OH ions. Product at cathode is hydrogen ion because it is lower in the reactivity series. So to form H2, and product is hydrogen gas. And similarly at anode, OH ion, so the product at anode is oxygen gas. This over here hydrogen, you can write down product only, no need to write down chemical equation. So only hydrogen and oxygen. So the oxygen, for oxygen reaction at anode, so just write down for your information 4 OH ion to form 2H2O plus oxygen and plus water, sorry, 4 electron. So no need to write down chemical equation, so just write down the product because he asked you to predict the products of this electrolysis. Iron is extracted from iron ore in blast furnace. Describe essential reactions involved in the extraction of iron. Carbon react with oxygen to form carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide react with more carbon to form carbon monoxide. Calcium carbonate decomposes to form calcium oxide, and calcium oxide react with silica to form calcium silicate. Carbon monoxide react with iron ore to form iron and carbon dioxide. So these are the reactions over here. For example, C plus O2 to form CO2. CO2 react with more carbon to form carbon monoxide, and carbon monoxide react with iron ore to form iron and carbon dioxide. Balance to over here. Calcium carbonate decompose to form calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide and calcium oxide plus silica impurities to form slag. So these reactions are carried out in the blast furnace. Question number 6. Carbon monoxide and nitrogen oxide are pollutant formed in car engines. Describe how nitrogen monoxide is formed in car engine. Nitrogen and oxygen react together to form nitrogen monoxide. Carbon monoxide reacts with nitrogen monoxide as shown in the equation. The reaction is extremely slow at room temperature but is much faster in the presence of catalyst. Explain why this reaction involves both oxidation and reduction. As carbon monoxide is oxidized to form carbon dioxide as it gains oxygen. And nitrogen monoxide is reduced as it loses oxygen. The reaction between carbon monoxide and nitrogen is exothermic. Explain using idea about bond breaking and bond forming why the reaction is exothermic. Bond making releases energy while bond breaking absorb energy. So more energy is released in bond making than energy absorbed in bond breaking. Explain using idea about particles why increasing temperature increases the rate of reaction between carbon monoxide and nitrogen monoxide. Particles gain kinetic energy, move faster and have more successful collision between the particles. So why catalyst increase the rate of reaction between carbon monoxide and nitrogen monoxide? Catalyst low increases the rate of reaction by lowering the activation energy. Explain using idea about the particles why the catalyst in the catalytic converter needs to have large surface area. More that needs to have large surface area as particles exposed more and have more successful collisions per second. Aluminium is an element in group 3 of the periodic table. Aluminium is used to make containers for food because it does not react with water. State and explain in terms of its properties one large scale use of aluminium. Large scale use is making aircraft parts as due to as aluminium has low density. Explain why aluminium does not react with cold water. Aluminium has natural oxide layer which is impermeable to water. Describe with the aid of label diagram the metallic bonding in solid aluminium. Delocalized electron and positive ions. Positive ions of metals are closely packed packed with packed by delocalized electrons. Aluminium is manufactured by the electrolysis of aluminum oxide dissolved in molten cryolite. Write the ionic equation for the reaction at the cathode and the anode. Cathode is negative plate, so positive ions discharged at negative plate to form aluminium liquid molten form, and at anode oxygen gas plus 4 electron. So this is at anode. Anode is positive plate. Okay, 2.34 gram of aluminium is reacted with 50 centimeter cube of 2 mole per dm cube sulfuric acid. Show by equation that aluminum is in excess. 2 mole of aluminium. 2.34 divided by 27. The answer is 2.34 divided by 27, 0.086666. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. 7. While moles of H2SO4 is equal to 2 mole per dm cube concentration, 50 divided by 1000. 50,000 is equal to into 2, 0.1. So aluminum has 3 mole. Aluminum has 2 mole divided by 2, and this is divided by 3. So this is equal to divided by 3. This is equal to 0.03 mole, and this is equal to 0.08. Divided by 2, and this is equal to 0.04. So or in other words, we can aluminium H2SO4 2:3. So this is 0.0867 ratio x. So 0.0867 into 3 divided by 2 is equal to 0.13. And similarly, aluminium H2SO4 0.3:2 and 0.1 ratio x. 0.1 into 2 divided by 3. So this is 0.06 moles. This is sulfuric acid 0.13 moles. Zero point 0.1 mole of acid react with 0.067 moles and 0.0867 mole of aluminum, 0.03 0.0867 mole of aluminium would need 0.13 moles of sulfuric acid. H2SO4 is in excess. Alkenes are homologous series of unsaturated hydrocarbons. Name the alkene which has only 3 carbon atoms in its molecules. Propene. Draw the structure of an unbranched and of branched alkenes. Show all of the atoms and all the bonds in each structure. Unbranched alkenes. This is branched alkene. Describe a chemical test that distinguishes an alkene from an alkane. Chemical test: add bromine and bromine water. Result with alkene. Alkene decolorize decolorizes the bromine. No change with alkane. Give 2 reasons why the alkenes are manufactured by the cracking of long chain hydrocarbon. The equation for the cracking of C14830 is shown. Give 2 reasons why cracking of long chain hydrocarbon is important. Alkane, cracking of alkane, cracking of alkane gives hydrogen and alkanes in more demand and shorter alkene chain alkene used to make polymer. X contains 85.7% carbon by mass and calculate the percentage composition data, the empirical formula of X. X contains carbon and hydrogen 85.7 and 14.3, 12, 1. This is 7.14 and this is 14.3. One ratio 2. The formula is CH2. Okay, calculate using the percentage composition data the empirical formula of X. Show your working. State the molecular formula of X. So the empirical formula is CH2, and molecular formula over here, this is C8H18 and this is 2 moles of C3H6, so which is equal to C14, so it means C3H6. Ammonia is used to make nitrogenous fertilizers. Ammonia is manufactured using the reversible reaction between nitrogen. For this reversible reaction into hydrogen, reversible reaction NH3, 2NH3, 3H2. Ammonia is used to make the soluble salt ammonium nitrate. Name the acid that reacts with ammonium to make a nitric acid. Calculate the percentage biomass of nitrogen in ammonium nitrate. MR of ammonium nitrate NH4NO3 is equal to nitrogen 28 plus 4 plus 16 into 3, this is equal to 80, and nitrogen is percentage nitrogen is equal to 28 over 80 into 100. So the answer is Answer is 35%. Nitrogenous fertilizers such as ammonium nitrate leach from farmland and cause water. Name the process caused by this type of water pollution. Eutrophication. Explain why this type of water pollution problem is increased when nitrate fertilizers are used instead of other fertilizers. Nitrates are very soluble in water. Farmer adds ammonium nitrate to soil. The farmer then adds calcium hydroxide. Show the purpose of adding calcium hydroxide. Calcium hydroxide is used to reduce the acidity of soil. Construct the equation for the reaction between ammonium nitrate and calcium hydroxide. using your equation y ammonium nitrate is less, nitrate fertilizer is less effective after calcium hydroxide is added. So ammonium nitrate plus CaOH twice to form calcium nitrate to plus ammonia plus water. Why ammonium nitrate is less effective? As ammonia is produced which escape in air deficient causes the soil deficient of nitrogen. So this is all about of this paper. Hopefully you would understand the paper. If you like this, please like the video and subscribe the channel. It really helps to grow the channel. Okay.